Hey everybody, welcome to the channel. If you're looking for content about whatever this Cushman thing is, hit subscribe below. We've got other projects like old car restorations, so if you'd like that, again, click that subscribe button, turn on the notification bell. Now, last segment we left off with our new to us 1999, yes, 1999 Cushman Turf Truckster. And we did get it running. It came home from a K-bid auction as a non-runner. We took a chance and we gambled and we won. And the part that failed was actually on the buggy still. So if you want to check that video out, click up here. Today, I'm going to fiddle with a few things. One, as you can see, I've started trying to bring the paint back a little bit. This is nice. There's still, of course, 30 years of life experience. Over here we have faded, dirty stuff and a hole. Now, why would somebody put a hole in here? It looks like it was on purpose for something, but what would have gone in there? Better yet, how do we close that up? I'm not going to do a good job fiberglassing it. It's not a Bondo type project. I may simply find a metal plate and cover it so that if I go somewhere with it where I need an access sticker or pass or something, one of the other tractor shows that we go to, I've got something I can stick the sticker to and then take it off easily without getting all the adhesive crap stuck on the panel itself. So that's kind of my thinking there. And also I want to say, maybe I was a little hard on the old first Cushman in the first video. I can say it is electric. Where I use it up at that at the tractor show, it's super nice because it doesn't make any noise around all the other exhibits. I often get up early, come back late, and I don't make noise for my neighbors who are already asleep up there. And it is much narrower than this thing, so I can fit it pretty much anywhere. So while it works really good up there, it works marginally acceptable up here at home. The big thing is the run from the shop up to the house here, as you've seen in other videos, is pretty steep, and in the winter, when there's any snow or mud, it's just worthless. So again, with no suspension really. It was meant to be a field cart like on a football field or in a factory or something, on mostly flat surface. For that, I'm sure it excels excellent. But here, it's not quite the right machine, and I think this is going to do much better for us. I had been looking for like a Ranger or some other side-by-side, but the prices for those, even on the used or salvage market, are disgusting. So this, I think, is going to fit our bill. Now that I'm done explaining myself, aside from getting this thing cleaned up a little bit, finding new stickers, I'm not keen on the hot pink really. They should have been, I think, orange or red, depending on the year. I'm going to start cleaning all this stuff up off camera. That's nothing you need to watch, but you can definitely see it cleans up pretty well. It's just oxidation and life not being properly cleaned, which I'm sure 99% of people don't do a 4-stage paint correction on their utility carts. But I'm me. See back there, we've got our line of McGuire stuff. We've got our ammo wax over there. No, I don't think I'm going to ceramic coat it. Anyways, what else are we going to do? Well, I would like to take this green engine shroud off and get it cleaned up and probably paint it with the Eastwood chassis black, A, because that's what I have, and I want some experience using it for an upcoming project, and B, it needs to be repainted. Under here is all sorts of rusty crusties. One of the plywood supports is gone, need to make another one of those, and just get everything cleaned up. This I'll probably take off too and paint, try and preserve the decals. I know I can get new ones, so maybe that'll be in order also. So if anybody else uses it, they know what this does. This is the hydraulic lever for the dump box. So up and down, and there is a float option if you happen to be using the exhaust or the external hydraulics for something, maybe a blade or whatever it's used for, but I had to read the directions to find that out. This is your level or your control for the standard or external hydraulic. Of course, your parking brake. And this here is an item I've got to look at. This is the high-low shift for the 2-speed rear end. Neutral, doesn't really catch all the way down. It should be low, but it still kind of grinds those gears. So I've got to look at that, which means I've got to put up the dump box. Which brings me to another fun topic. This back end, it does need some beating with a hammer. There is access to drop it like a regular pickup tailgate, and there is something under here I need to figure out what it is. This, I assume, went to some sort of lever that is now missing or broken, mainly because there's a bolt over here preventing these dogs from tipping down, which I believe would then allow the tailgate to flip out from the top. So you've either got to flip down from the bottom like a pickup or flip up from the top like a dump truck. I got to figure out how that works because there is some mechanical doohickeys that go up towards the front, so I've got to figure out how that goes together. The other thing, the trailer hitch, which seems kind of worthless with its big box on top, but it is broken off up a little farther, so I've got to figure out how to reattach that. Looks like just a bracket that broke off via rust, so hopefully that won't be a big deal. And the bigger issue, why does that rear end look like a Honda Civic? So at one point in time, there was something heavy that either was dropped on it or this dropped off something, and the rear axle tubes are bent just enough to camber in those wheels. And I want to figure out, A, if I can get replacements, or B, how to repair them or bend them back if I can't find replacements. Maybe it's a matter of heat and beat or heat and weight or what the case may be, but I have a feeling those should be straight for the best operation of the vehicle. Now I'm sure there's shafts in there and some bearings and whatnot, but this is going to be one of my higher priority tasks to try and get that sorted out, but not today. That seems like a project for when it's warmer outside, and I can do that in the shop. So we'll see. Otherwise, this thing overall needs us to clean up. The plating down here below the fuel tank I found is a little loose, so I'm not sure what caused that or how that attaches. I see a bolt here that's not attached, so maybe it's as easy as putting that back where it came from. And I've still got to pull some of these old wires out, but at least we're making progress. So if you remember from the first video, we were working on the relays here. We found the bad relay, and there was a spare working one screwed to the wall, so we just used that. We have our OBD1 diagnostic port. We figured that out and figured out the wiring for the brake pressure or brake fluid sensor level here. All of our other fuses are good. We checked those and basically give this area a little bit of a vacuum and cleaning and call it good. I'm not sure what I'll put over here. Maybe I don't know, something. So that's tidied up. Again here in the cabin, looks like the master cylinder was replaced for brakes at one point in time because this area was cut out. I don't know if this is a factory replacement or if that was done after the fact. But I've got a new one of these in my Amazon cart that'll show up. A little bit of cleaning here, spare pair of gloves, yum. Nothing too good. Here's the, I don't know what this is. Looks like a threaded thing. I don't know. That'll probably go away. Old golf tee in there. Light for that works. I want to get all new bulbs for the dash because I don't know what's good and what's bad. I'm not going to spend 2 hours swapping around bulbs. So that's pretty much it. Probably clean this cushion up. It was just material stapled on here. So maybe I will try and restaple it on a little better. Just see how it goes. But I'm gonna keep going on the whole wax process here and get as much of this front cab area as I can cleaned up. Then I'll work on moving to the back. So let me go ahead, get this cleaned up. We'll come back. We can see what it looks like. Alrighty, well, I've been doing a little prep work trying to get things ready. As you see, the rest of the front end is clean. It's a whole lot better than it was before. You know, granted, it still has 23 years of life. There's some scratches and some scuffs, and maybe if I get bored someday, I'll find a little more aggressive cleaner for this. Looks like a little bit of hazing, scratches and scuffs from stuff, so it is what it is, and I think it looks a whole lot better than it did before for, you know, buggy. I did make a panel to put over here. These holes were here, so I don't know what this hole was for originally from the previous owner. It doesn't seem terribly useful, so I don't know why they would have cut that out. What I did is I'll show you. I simply took a piece of metal, cut it, primed it, painted it black, roughly a little smaller than a license plate, I guess. But I'm going to set that over here and just screw it in. Where are my holes? There they are. And one of those holes is not where it was. How about that way? Well, I got to figure out which way the holes went. They were all traced off of a template, so hopefully it's going to be easy to figure out where it goes back. There we go. So basically, covers up the ugly hole, and if I go anywhere that needs a pass, I can stick it to this versus sticking it to the vehicle itself, and easier to clean off. And who knows, maybe eventually a giant spotlight, or was there, will go there, who knows. We've got a mounting place up here for radio, a big LED, whatever we want. But I'm just going to go ahead and put this in and move on. You know, second thought, I want to throw a little bead of silicone around here to keep any moisture that comes down here from dripping inside. So let me do that. Then we'll get this screwed in. All right, I've got a little glob of silicone around the edge of this thing. Set it back down carefully on the holes. Alrighty, that's on there. Under here we got it cleaned up like I said earlier, but now this hole's all covered up, hopefully sealed from the elements. Pretty much cleaned up. May have gone a little wild with the tire black and some other stuff, just to try and get it a little less old looking. Now, let's move on to the next thing. Alrighty, next around here on the passenger side, we have the little running board area here where the fuel tank mounts to. No problem with the fuel tank, but this is unbolted from up here. Looks like it pulled off from maybe somebody standing on it or something dropping. This edge here was pretty well rolled over. I've pulled it out a bit, as good as I'm going to get with it. But I want to pull out the fuel tank, or at least loosen it so I can see what's behind it and do whatever we've got to do to get this running board here reattached, because it is, well, now that I've started to bolt it back up here, it's better. But I have a feeling there's one more mounting place behind the fuel tank that I'd like to check. And if not, great, we'll put it back together and move on. But that's probably one of the things you don't want rattling loose and falling off is the fuel tank. Alrighty, well, We've got a 1/2-inch bolt on the back side of here. I've let sit with some good old PB blaster. See if I can pull it off without snapping it. Well, that's not spinning off. It's not spun off. The bolt is in there, but it's like the nut just simply stripped. Let's see if we can't persuade it. A little help from a screwdriver here. It just doesn't seem to want to come off, unfortunately, which is unfortunate. So I'd really like to get it out and look at it behind here. Let me fiddle with it and see if I can't get it off. Well, when a little blunt force is needed, goodbye threads, if you can see that. Hello. Either way, the threads are gone. Why can't you focus on my threads? Here we go. Yeah, they're pretty much worn off. I don't know why. There's something stuck on the nut. It's like the end of the threads are there, but you get going, I don't know. So I was worried I cut this off and weld on another stud, but I'll put it back on and see how it goes. Probably won't come off again for another 30 years. Anyways, we got our tank. See if I can just move it a little bit and see what's behind here. The brackety thing. So it's not super easy to simply just pull out. But let me grab a flashlight and see if there's anything else back there. All right. Nothing else back there for brackets or mounting points, just some scuzz. So I'm going to try and get that out of the way so it's not rubbing on the tank. And I'll get this front mount put back on. And I guess put this strap back on. Sort of a futile effort, but at least we tried. All right, that's not going anywhere. Guess we'll get our strap, put that back on. And put this back together. All right, next we've got our hand controls for our governor and throttle. It should both go up and down. So if you had the PTO option, you could set this at a certain RPM. And of course the directions say do not use this as a hand throttle if you fall out. Well, I'm probably going to anyways if I can dial in the speed of the optimal speed for spraying the pastures, which is about 4 miles an hour. And there are linkages down here. Which move with the different levers. And the problem is this one here for the throttle is pretty sticky. So I want to go ahead and see if I can throw any PB blaster back here. This one here is okay, but I'm going to hit them both. Quick pull this off. Unfortunately, I think I might know how it comes apart, much like this over here, which was a pain to do. And I don't have access from the front. So I may be simply, yep, same type of restraints. There's no actual thread lock on the back of here or studs. There's a metal bar that goes across with your nuts welded on. And you almost have to have a hand in there in order to get it in the right spot. And I just hosed myself because you have fallen down. Okay, so I'll have to deal with that later because, well, boo. I'm just gonna go ahead and spray some PB Blast in here. Try and get onto this linkage and see if we can loosen it up a little bit. And of course, get a rag. We just got a mess brewing everywhere now, don't we? Try and keep the stuff out of the switches. That actually helped quite a bit. This also pulls the accelerator down so we can maybe lubricate some of that linkage underneath too. But all in all, that's about 80% better, except for that screw, which takes off 10%. I did run through the whole engine area here. Any of the linkages for the throttle or governor, I hit with some PB Blast to kind of loosen that stuff up, and that's helped out quite a bit. But otherwise, like I said in the first video, it's a very simple 3-cylinder Suzuki 660i or something engine. It does have fuel injection and OBD1 on it, which we actually never used for diagnosis because we figured that out. But it runs, it starts, it sounds really good. And we move back here. We have just a 3-speed transmission under here, short drive shaft that goes to our 2-speed rear end. Now, what I was mentioning earlier, we have our parking brake, but we have this here, which connects to the back. Let me get you in there, see if you can see it or not. Alright, I think you can see that. And now it's up in high range. This should be neutral. And then we've got low range down there. So either our low range is shot, or possibly there's a nut down there that has slid back and is no longer pushing this in as far as it needs to go. So I need to look and see if I can move that nut in. Right here. That felt better. So that might do it for us. I guess we'll know once we get it hooked back up with the battery. This battery is down here. Oop. Battery is down here getting reconditioned. Not that it needs it, but why not? Alrighty, well, we're gonna break it off here without being too long and boring. We'll come back. We've got some stuff on the back end here to work on and look at cleaning up that front seat area. So until then, thanks for watching and we'll see you in the next video. Take care. Bye.